Hello and welcome to History's Greatest Idiots, the podcast in which we give you examples of human fuck-ups from all of history, people who made the biggest mistakes possible, and give you lessons from their experiences so you never repeat those mistakes again. But who are we kidding? We're humans. We like making mistakes. It's fun, and we do it all the time. Joining me as ever is my amazing co-host, Derek. Derek, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man.
Awesome.
Good week so far, and ready to jump into this and talk about some midgets.
Oh yeah, you got some Egypts. Nice. How's Arizona at the moment? Is it still as hot as the surface of the sun over there?
Yep, still on fire, both in temperature and the forests.
Oh no, you got forest fires going on there.
Well, they're not really forests so much as it's like
shrubbery.
The tumbleweeds are all on fire.
Oh, okay. Rolling past. Ah! Yeah, we've. Sorry, I was going to say we've had a kind of a mixed week here in the UK. We've had thunderstorms today, so it's kind of cool.
We actually, we got clouds rolling in here too, man.
Nice.
It's 100 degrees with clouds. It's gross.
Maybe you'll get a bit of rain. You know, that would really help you guys out.
No kidding. Dude, the heat is everywhere, though, because they're throwing out record numbers like 116 degrees in Canada. The power lines and stuff are melting in Seattle because they had over 100 degrees consistently, like all week long. It's crazy.
In the Pacific Northwest, when the Pacific Northwest is hot, you know things are fucked up, right?
Yeah, well, but hey, climate change doesn't exist, though, man.
I wonder if no, of course it doesn't. If you talk to some Republicans, I wonder if Seattle had been warmer and more temperate, do you think Kurt Cobain might have been more relaxed in his life? Do you think we would have had grunge if Seattle 25, 30 years ago had been cooler, hotter even?
Oh, it would have been angry grunge then.
Yeah, it would have been dirty, stinky grunge. Not that it wasn't anyway. Really pungent grunge.
Sticky flannel.
Oh God! Could you imagine flannel with the mask?
Yeah, maybe if it wasn't cool, they wouldn't have had flannel. It would have just been cotton tees.
Yeah. I just have this image of like if Seattle had been warmer, like Nirvana would have been like the Beach Boys, just like fucking.
Probably.
I wish they all could be Seattle girls or some shit like that. You know.
More sunny disposition.
Yeah.
Cloudy.
But then again, instead of heroin, it would have been acid. So, you know.
It would have been really interesting if it, had a Beach Boy feel on acid.
Oh yeah.
I'm awake. No, never mind.
Yeah, the Beach Boys doing acid. I'm glad. I mean, did Brian Jones do acid, or?
Not sure. I mean, I'm not real into that generation area of music, but I mean, everybody knows the car commercial ones, though.
Yeah.
The ones they use for TV. But
of course.
I just imagine in the middle of one of the songs, if they're on acid, they just stop singing and it'd be like.
Start like touching the walls.
Right? Yeah.
Like, ooh, my hands are so big and scratchy. Do you imagine? Yeah, like the Beach Boys on acid. I mean, it fucked up Syd Barrett so much that Pink Floyd's career trajectory sort of changed when Syd Barrett basically lost his mind because he did too much acid. But like the Beach Boys, I don't even want to imagine the kind of insanity we would have had. Pet Sounds 2 would have been quite the experience had they been on acid. Imagine, God. Anyway, so Arizona's on fire. England is raining and being far too warm interchangeably, so global warming's a thing. But away from that, let's get to this week's first idiot. And as ever, sorry, that was wind. We haven't told each other who our idiots are, but we've kind of given each other hints. So all you've told me is that this person is an English career criminal. So that's really cool. So, Derek, please tell me who your idiot for episode 12 is.
Okay, so we all know folks that are bad at their jobs, right?
Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah, I've worked with plenty of them.
They seem to exist in, like, every profession.
Oh, yeah.
And I like to think that in most cases, though, they'll learn and get better or stop trying altogether, one of the two.
Yeah, like experience typically makes people better or they get found out. You know, something like that.
Right. Yeah. The gentleman I present to you today is spectacularly dreadful at his chosen profession, and unfortunately, he fancied himself a career criminal.
Oh,
And while he did have a career in crime that
okay.
dated all the way back to 1977,
Whew.
he wasn't very successful with it because he failed to get away with just about any one of his crimes.
Wow. Okay. Can't wait to
So
hear this.
he's born in or around London in 1958.
Okay.
Not much known about his early life, but by March of 1977, at the age of 19, he was appearing in court before the Bristol Crown Court for the first time in his life on the count of robbery.
Bristol. Okay, cool. So that's actually where my wife's from. So,
Okay.
yeah, she may know this person.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yeah, please go on.
Worked at any banks or the
No.
bookies? What do they call them there?
Sorry, what are they called?
Like a bank or a bookie?
Yeah, so we've got banks and building societies typically. There you go.
Ones.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah,
that's what I was looking for. He liked to rob those, so if she was involved or in around that, maybe she has come across this guy.
Maybe her parents knew of this. Yeah, but please go on. Bristol Crown Court, 1977.
He's convicted of robbery and sentenced to 3 years in prison.
All right.
And he did part of that sentence. Looks like he may have been released early or paroled because he got out in 1979 and within a few months gave robbery another try. And by June of 1979, he was back before the court, this time in Swindon Crown Court.
Wow, he's made his way up.
They sentenced him to 7 years in prison for his robbery of the what is that called? Society buildings or
building society? Yeah, typically. Okay. Yeah. Not a great place to rob, to be honest. They don't have a lot of money on them. Building societies.
Well, he had a knack for not actually getting money most times when he did the robberies. So 79, 7 years. He gets released in 1986, and it seems like maybe he might have thought about getting away from crime for a little while because not much came up from him until 1993.
All right. Yeah.
When he thought, okay, I'm going for banks. Maybe they're going to be easier.
In the 90s? No.
Yeah. He's not a smart man, I don't think.
No, he isn't.
And so he thought the best way to rob these banks would be to just say he had a gun and put down a bag and then slide another bag over and say, fill it up.
All right.
And he went into 2 different banks in 93, said he had a gun, and was arrested shortly after the second one, where he made off with just about nothing because they were like, no. And he was sentenced to 6 years for those 2 bank robberies in 1993.
I mean, I guess they can't do him for armed robbery because he wasn't armed. So just robbery.
Not that time. Somewhere along the line, another bank robbery came up. It may have happened before they caught him for the second one, or may have happened before he was put in prison in 93. That's
okay.
Because in July of 97, he's back before the court facing robbery charges and having an imitation firearm, which was related to the 2 of the 3 robberies.
Wow.
And this time he got sentenced to 10 years to be served consecutive with the original 1993 sentence.
Wow. Okay.
And once again, shortly after he gets out of prison in 2000 something, he decides he wants to go on a crime spree because he's got a gambling debt that he needs to pay.
Okay.
I lost my place.
That's okay.
There we go. He goes on this 12-day crime spree, and he makes off with nearly 10,000 pounds. Probably his most successful go at crime so far. But he still gets caught and snatched up and charged with 3 robberies and an attempted robbery in that whole shenanigans. But during the spree, he moved away from the imitation firearm this time and started threatening staff with a fucking carving fork.
A carving fork?
One of them big things where I don't know. I'd rather have an imitation gun because those things
Yeah.
kind of scare the hell out of me.
A carving
So
fork.
apparently I don't know. It would have been cooler if it was a pitchfork.
Yeah.
I would have had a little bit more respect for him if he would have used a pitchfork, because then he could have just said he was the devil, and then it would have been a whole thing. But the carving fork made him more memorable and attracted more attention, and he ended up back in court in 2007 and was sentenced to another 9.5 years.
Okay.
Now, again, I'm not sure if he got out earlier, if it was something related to the spree, but in 2012, he was in court one more time for robbery. And apparently, that time, somewhere along the line, he targeted the Royal Bank of Scotland.
Okay.
And in that robbery, he once again went back to the old guns in the bag trick. He put a carrier bag on the counter with a thud, slid it over, and then pushed over an empty one and said, "Fill it." And she freaked out and started filling it before she hit the silent alarm. He made off with all of 460 pounds.
Wow.
And that got him another six years.
Yeah, not surprised.
So he's in and out of prison, and it repeats itself one last time in 2018, where he said, "Hey, that crime spree was fun. I'm going to set off on another multiple-day crime spree." And it was a really bad one this time that you might have heard in the press. Somewhere between November 23rd and December 3rd, he attempted to rob 6 banks and a building society.
Jeez.
It included the Royal Bank of Scotland again on High Street in Prescott, and Lloyd's on Eccleston Street.
All right.
But the effort didn't go well at all this time because he just is a jackass, and by this time he's an old man. He's in his 60s now, going in there and trying to rob him with his fake bank or his fake gun at the bank.
Not a fork this time, thankfully.
No, it's actually a gray hairbrush that's taped up and kind of just sticking out of the bag.
What?
So it would have been smart if he drilled into the hairbrush so it looked like there was a barrel, but he didn't even do that. He just taped around it.
Wow.
He didn't get any money from any of the attempted robberies in this 2018 spree. I take that back. Royal Bank of Scotland gave him 500 pounds, and he took off with that.
Week's wages. Nice.
Once again, it turns out he had a gambling debt that he needed to pay. So turns out he's shit at robbing things and gambling.
Oh my God.
It may have not been a successful crime spree because it turns out he was wearing a scarf over his face that was kind of a heavy scarf, and it covered his mouth. And most of the cashiers and tellers said they couldn't tell what the hell he was trying to say before he just
What? Put the money in the
bathroom's
B.
over there, sir.
Yeah. Jesus.
So in most of those cases, he got frustrated and turned around and left because they couldn't understand him. When he did try to use that gun hairbrush thing, it did work. Then no, it didn't work. It was at one of the bookie places, and the teller, actually, this is the best part, not only refused to give him the cash, but told him to sod off.
Sorry, when you said it did work, I would have been like, holy shit, this guy's a magician. You imagine this hairbrush fires a bullet. Oh my God.
It's the hair from the drain clogs.
Yeah. Yeah. Those things are gross. But that doesn't surprise me about bookies because fuck me. They deal with drunk, gambling addicted arseholes all day. So yeah, you point something that looks nothing like a gun at them. Even if you point a gun at them, they'll probably say, fuck off.
Right? My experience from the bookies over there in your neck of the woods was from, I think, the movie Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah, accurate.
They kind of seem like badasses.
Oh, yeah, they are. They don't give a shit. They're making minimum wage. They don't have time for your bullshit. So,
So he sucks once again and doesn't make anywhere near enough to cover his gambling debt and turns himself in and when he's arrested, he says that if he would have been more successful and hadn't gotten caught, he was on to St. Helens next. And he went on to say that He was sorry if he'd caused any sort of distress to the staff or establishments that he tried to rob, which I'm not sure most of them didn't even know they were being robbed.
No.
But I guess he's sorry. And this
Which is
time the
good.
judge decided to show him some mercy, but not because he said he was sorry. The judge decided against giving him a life sentence merely because he was so bad at his job. The judge was quoted as saying, "You are 61 years of age, and although for some activities you might be described as being in the prime of your life or
Like
not
what?
far beyond it, robbery is not the activity of a man your age should be devoting your attention.
No.
Fortunately, you're not very good at it, and I make it quite clear that if you'd been more successful, you would have been facing today a discretionary life sentence."
Oh, yeah.
That was Judge Clement Goldstein, and that was kind of a cool.
God bless
Like,
Clement,
You
because
suck.
you're crap at your job, so I can't give you a good sentence. So,
But he did sentence him to 12 years,
Fuck.
8 of which needed to be served in prison, and 4 on license, which I'm not sure what that means.
so
I tried to look into it, but it was confusing.
in the UK, if you're sentenced to 8 years or more, you serve 2/3 of that sentence. Anything below that, you serve half. So you'll serve half in prison and the other half outside. But if you get 8 years or more, you will do, 6 years and then 2 years on license. So when you're on license, it's like parole, right? So you basically, you violate your license, your parole, straight back to prison, like no fucking about. And that can be anything as straightforward as missing a parole meeting, or just getting a parking ticket and not paying the fine, shit like that. It's pretty bad. And I know there's a big deal made in America of like the fact that you have a huge prison population. It's as bad in this country in terms of percentage of population head. We have far too many people in prison in this country for crimes they probably shouldn't be in prison for. And also, the prison system in this country is even less effective than it is in America at rehabilitating people. So it clearly shows with this guy, because he's going to prison time and time again, and he just keeps on reoffending. So really what he needed was some sort of assisted living where he could learn skills and potentially get a job and be taught the basics of like looking after yourself and having a home
Making
and stuff.
smarter bets.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to a bookies. Maybe try the slot machines. You might actually be halfway decent at something that involves completely fixed random chance as opposed to skill, because he's clearly got no skill.
No skill at crime, no skill at gambling. He's currently serving the sentence as we speak.
Yeah.
I present to you him. He was dubbed the world's worst bank robber by some in 2000. I think it was 2019 when he was finally sentenced. Mr. Terence Cole of Liverpool.
Terry Cole,
one of history's greatest idiots.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've actually never heard of this guy, even though it's like kind of my neck of the woods. It's one of those things where a lot of crime reporting in this country is kind of done on a local level. So you'll hear about like, so and so. It rarely makes national news. Kind of the news in this country before it became sensationalized. Thank you, Mr. Murdoch. Was pretty much. It's all international focused and international affairs and politics and developments and stuff. You rarely hear about there was a high-speed chase on stuff. You have to get that from the local news. This kind of thing, however, will have made the news for a different reason, because occasionally, you get at the end of the news programs, and finally, here's the story of a cute puppy that climbed up a tree and was rescued by Superman or something. Those kind of fluff pieces that they use to like, we've just talked at you for half an hour about death and the impending doom, and you've bought everything we want, but here's something to send you home happy. That's that kind of piece. He will have been one of those, and here is the worst robber of all time. And boy, does he sound like it.
I think it's something around 16, 18 failed robberies.
That's ridiculous. Because usually,
from
like
1977 to 2018, he made 10,500 pounds.
That's ridiculous. He could have worked minimum wage and made 5 times that. Jesus Christ.
He was getting the free housing and meals, I suppose.
I guess so. Saved himself a fortune. With this guy, he is a classic idiot, and I do like a classic idiot. You know, he is a complete failure at what he's doing, and he does not stop. He just keeps on going at this mission of his, this kind of self-implosion that seems to happen. It is sad in a lot of ways. The thing that's the saving grace is that in this country, armed robbery is a very serious crime. I mean, we kind of have our sentencing guidelines are very different than America. I know a lot of things there get very long sentences, obviously.
Yeah.
We tend not to get that. Like a life sentence in this country is usually 18 to 25 years. Like that's life. Okay. After you've done that, you're up for parole, and you might get out first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. Sometimes you get people who are given sentences of life without the possibility of parole because they've killed someone, or a whole life sentence, and it's such a gruesome murder that there's no way that they want to let them out into public. The armed robbery in this country gets you a life sentence. It's one of the few that does. And he probably would have been looking at, had he been found guilty, he probably would have been looking at 12 to 18 years for armed robbery. But because he was so bad and was never really armed, except for a fucking fork or something,
right.
He's kind of gotten away with it. He's gotten these kind of ridiculous sentences. So in terms of scoring, I do like a classic idiot. I'm really finding a core for these. I'm going to say he's a 75.
All right.
Because he didn't kill anyone. He didn't.
No.
I mean, I'm sure psychologically he's harmed people, right? And he may have, like, he's harmed his family and his friends from you know, his life and stuff, which is never great, and that's really not good. But he's so unsuccessful at what he did. He can't possibly rank higher than, say, your mass murderers or stupid people who cost lives. You know, but he's great. I do like this guy, Terry Cole, was it?
Yep, Terrence Cole.
Terrence Cole. There's no way anyone in Liverpool called him Terrence. In Liverpool, it went, Terry. All right, Terry. There's maybe his mum. But yeah, Terrence Cole is a 75. What a classic idiot. And clearly we don't build bank robbers like you guys do in America. I mean, you've got like almost heroic level bank robbers from the 1930s and 40s. You know, some of those guys were lionized. It was amazing.
Yeah, the old day robbers, Jesse James and the
Dillinger and that.
Oh yeah, honestly, they make great movies.
Yeah,
it might have been scary if you were a cop. In most cases, they didn't shoot a lot of civilians. I think Machine Gun Kelly was bad at that sort of thing and hurting civilians. But I think a lot of the times, like in America, they just wanna root for the underdog, and they can understand. Sometimes you feel like you've been under pressure and you just snap and you need to, but yeah, I don't know. This dude just is laughably bad.
Yeah.
So I would probably like this guy if he was over here. I'd be like, look at this jackass.
You idiot. Again, you know, the funny thing is that in this country, pretty much the only famous existing criminal who's had a film made about his life, what would you call an actual criminal, is Charles Bronson, or or Charles Darley. I don't know what he calls himself these days. That man is terrifying, and
he's nuts.
He is a dangerous man, and the film made about his life is brilliant. It's hard to watch at times, but it is fucking amazing. So if anybody's out there, go and watch Bronson. If they ever make a film about Terry Cole's life, I think it's going to be a farce. If we can resurrect Benny Hill and put him in the role, that would be perfect. So
right on. I'll take a 75. That's a good one.
75 is a good one. Now, my idiot this week is actually probably the smartest idiot we will have ever had in terms of qualifications. In terms of power, like the network of people he knew and that knew him, he is up there with the most powerful people we've ever had. And I'm talking presidential level power here. The person I'm going to cover today is an American businessman who is responsible for one of the most famous catastrophes in financial history. I'm going to tell you the story of Ken Lay, the man who knew everything and did nothing. I just got to start with his name because he's got a great name. Kenneth Lee Lay. So his middle name is Lee. His parents were cruel. Ken Lee Lay was born in... This is really confusing. In the... Ken Lee Lay. He was born in the Texas County, Missouri town of Tyrone. That's a lot of shit. I don't even know if we're in Texas, Missouri, or wherever the fuck Tyrone is, but he was born there.
Sounds like probably Missouri, but yeah, they do dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
It's in Missouri County and Texas State and...
It's so confusing.
Arizona City.
There you go. The son of Omer and Ruth. Omer, that's like a hillbilly name, right? That's what it sounds like. Omer, Zebekiah, shit like that. Yeah. Omer and Ruth Lay. Lay's father was a Baptist preacher, and Lay grew up in poverty after the family's general store failed. Later in Lay's childhood, his family relocated to Columbia, Missouri, and Lay attended David H. Hickman High School and the University of Missouri, where he studied economics, receiving a Bachelor of Arts in economics.
That's
confusing.
Do the bachelor's weird, because there's Bachelor's of Science, and arts would, like, finance and business falls under arts.
That's so weird. You'd think they'd have a different school for that, you know?
Yeah. Well, and then they got Bachelor of Applied Science, too, which is more specified I don't know. None of it makes any sense to me because they have Bachelor of Arts in things that I wouldn't consider an art.
No, absolutely. Like it's finance. It's not art, unless you're this guy. There's an art to what he did. So he got a Bachelor of Arts in 1964 and a Master of Arts in Economics in 1965. The next year, it's a very condensed master's degree. Yeah, dude is smart. Let's not beat about the bush. Ken Lay is swift and smart and slippery as a fucking eel, as we're about to find out. He served as president of the Zeta Phi, or Pi, I guess, it's Pi, chapter of the Beta Theta Pi fraternity at the University of Missouri. Ole Miss.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a lot of Greek alphabet letters there. He earned a Doctor of Philosophy in the economics, Doctor of Philosophy in Economics from the University of Houston in 1970. So he was a Doctor of Philosophy in Economics, which... How do you get a Doctorate of Philosophy in Economics?
Yeah, wouldn't it be the Doctor of Economics Philosophy?
Surely, something like that. Was he studying, like, Karl Marx down there? Because, like, philosophy of economics, that's Karl Marx territory. I mean, I've got a thing here. I don't know what you got going on, son, but down here in Texas, we love the Lord, we love our country, and learning about the dictatorship of the proletariat. Imagine in Texas, like, get your shit together and study Karl Marx.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. Well, no, it was the 70s, you said, right?
Yeah, 1970. So, yeah, kind of just after Fremont disaster. So the end of the hippie movement, more or less. Yeah.
I'm going to say there were some communists in the 60s there.
That's true. There were. I mean, obviously the Red Scare was, it was a horrible thing that cost people lives and careers and stuff. But there were genuine communists floating around in America, just not as many as McCarthy thought. Yeah. He went a bit too far.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Part of American history right there.
Don't worry, we've got plenty of that over here as well. It's just older. That's all. He worked at Humble Oil as an economist from 1965 to 1968 in the corporate planning department. In 1968, Lay entered the Officer Candidate School for the United States Navy, where from 1968 to 1971 he rose to the rank of lieutenant and was the special assistant to the Navy Comptroller and financial analyst at the Office of Assistant Secretary of the Navy in the Department of the Navy. at the Pentagon. I got there in the end.
Good Lord, this guy likes words attached to his name.
Does. Also, comptroller, love that word. It's
Yeah.
such bullshit. Like, make your mind up. Are you a computer or are you a controller? You know,
Do you add or do you control things?
exactly. You know, the important part of that sentence, though, at the Pentagon. So
Yeah.
he's connections. Yeah, this dude is getting around. If you're going to fuck over millions of Americans in the future, having some connections in the Pentagon might help you a little bit.
Yes.
Absolutely. From 1971 to 1972, Ley worked as a technical assistant to the Commissioner and Vice Chairman, Federal Energy Regulator of the Federal Power Commission, and served as the Energy Deputy Undersecretary for the United States Department of the Interior until 1974. So already at 30, this dude is connected. You know?
Yeah.
I
feel like a failure. That's so much done by 30.
Well,
he's already got a doctor's philosophy, economics, master's.
He's worked at the Pentagon.
And he weaseled his way into the energy, having been involved in humble oil.
Mm-hmm. And this is where it all starts to get even more intense. In 1974, he returned to the business world as an executive at Florida Gas Transmission and was president of Continental Resources from 1981 to 1982. In 1982, he joined Transco Energy Company, owner of the Transcontinental Pipeline in Houston, and held a position of president, chief operating officer, and director until 1984, when he became chairman and CEO of the Houston Natural Gas Company. By the time energy was deregulated in the 80s, Ley was already an energy company executive, and he took advantage of the new climate when the Omaha-based Internorth bought his company Houston Natural Gas and changed the name to Enron.
Enron.
That's right. Here we are in 1985. He was also a member of the board of directors from 1993 until 2001 of Eli Lilly and Company and a director at Texas Commerce Bank. In 1996, he held negotiations to replace Robert E. Allen as the CEO of AT&T. This dude. Whew.
And AT&T is another one of those companies that kept getting involved into monopoly and antitrust stuff and breaking it apart and coming back together.
I know. I don't know how they're still going. It's crazy. It's the antitrust stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how you get broken apart in the antitrust stuff, and then you come back and all of a sudden AT&T owns all of the wireless companies.
I know. Capitalism's broken.
Sorry,
No, you're quite right. It's insane how antitrust and anti-monopoly stuff, which I think the anti-monopolies thing, that was like, wasn't that the first president, Roosevelt? Yeah. He was FDR was in the second, I guess. That whole breaking up of monopolies and stuff, that was one of the big things. So now we get to the really powerful buddies section. Ley was a friend of the Bush family. Including former President George H.W. Bush. He made monetary contributions, led several committees in the Republican Party, and was co-chairman of Bush's 1992 re-election committee. Boy, did that work out well. Wasn't he one term? Bush Senior?
Can't all be winners.
No. Republicans are very good at doing one-term presidents, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, although
God,
Bush
I wish more of
Jr.
them all do one terms.
Yeah.
Just change them out like the dirty diapers they
Exactly, yeah. Just do what they did in ancient Rome and give them a year. That's enough. As president, Ley flew Bush and his wife to Washington, Barbara Bush, and her fucking Barbara Bush. Fucking buff Barbara Bush and beat the shit out of anyone. Including former president. Sorry, I've gotten lost now because I got sidetracked by Barbara Bush and her gigantic muscular frame. In December 2000, Ley was mentioned as a possible candidate for either United States Secretary of Energy or Secretary of the Treasury under George W. Bush. So
that sounds dangerous there.
That really does sound dangerous. I know, he's still in the private sector. I don't think he should be involved in public finances or public office.
I wonder who's going to get some contracts.
I know. However, this is funny. He was not nominated because it was decided by the administration that the administration already had included too many energy businessmen from Texas. So,
sorry, we've already got too many people
yeah.
that shouldn't be doing it in here.
W's chief of staff is like, excuse me, Mr. President, just hear me out on this. It would be a really good idea if we hired someone who hasn't been round to your house for a barbecue. Just anybody else that isn't involved in that world might be, and nobody that's tainted by our Busto. Can we just stay away from that, please? Yeah.
Keep it more neutral.
Can we hire someone from, above Texas for a change? Lay additionally had friendly relations with the Republican politicians Gerald Ford, Dick Cheney, and James A. Baker III. No idea who the fuck that is. Is he famous?
Jim Baker.
Jim Baker. I recognize that name, sort of.
Yeah.
Is he like a career politician?
Just another rich asshole.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, rich white arsehole. He's got to be a Republican politician. As well as the Democratic politicians, Bill Clinton, because everyone fucking knows Bill Clinton, and Ann Richards. Again, no idea who you are. Sorry, Ann. Your career was for naught because some ginger Welshman doesn't know who you are. He encouraged John Ashcroft to campaign in the 2000 Republican Party presidential primaries, although this was partially to ensure him as a spoiler candidate to help Bush win the race. What a prick!
Yeah. Wow.
You should run.
That's
You should
not a
run.
good
Doesn't
friend.
stand a chance. Doesn't stand a chance. Fuck this guy. You're doing great, Ash. Holy shit. From 1989 to 2002, Lay's political contributions totaled $5.8 million. Fuck.
Man, can I get a taste?
Yeah,
That's
just
a little bit of that.
I'm starting a party. Yeah, I'm going to run for office. Can I have a few $100, please, Ken? You can't give it to me now. With 73% of his money going to the Republicans and 27% going to the Democrats. From 1999 to 2001, he gave $365,000 to the Republican Party. My takeaway from this is that he played both sides, basically.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He was in it for himself.
Oh yeah, he was. Whoever was likely to be his friend, he wanted them to have all of the monies. Now let's get to the really famous stuff. I've made a huge list here. I'm gonna skip over stuff that probably isn't as relevant. 1985, Enron is born. Ken Lay becomes CEO of the combined company the following year. 1989, Enron begins trading natural gas commodities. 1990, Ken hires Jeffrey Skilling to lead the company's effort to focus on commodities trading in deregulated markets. Andrew S. Fastow is one of Skilling's first hires later that year. These are names that are going to come up. They're going to be quite important. Okay. Richard Causey leaves Arthur Anderson LLP to join Enron as assistant controller, not comptroller, controller. That's made me really sad now. Skilling named president and chief operating officer of Enron in 1997. Fastow creates Chuco, a partnership to buy the University of California pension fund's stake in another joint venture dubbed Jedi. But Chuco doesn't meet requirements to keep off Enron's balance sheets. First step towards similar financial moves to hide debts and infiltrate profits that fuel Enron's downfall. Fuckers.
Yeah.
1998, Fastow named finance chief. 1999, Causey named chief accounting officer. He is elbow deep at this point. Fastow creates the first of two partnerships. LJM purported to buy poorly performing Enron assets and hedge risky investments, but really helps the company hide debt and inflate profits. So they're lying through their teeth. Yeah.
Making shit up.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
We're fine. Look at us. Look at all these numbers on a piece of paper. Enron directors approved Fastow's plan that he run the partnerships that do deals while Enron with Enron while continuing as Enron's finance chief. Conflict of interest. The financial people will not like that. Causey, the former chief risk officer, and former chief risk officer Rick Bye, awesome name. So his name is Dick Bye. That's just, I love that. And Bye as in B-U-Y. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, amazing. It sounds like a porn star name. Yeah, dick buy. By who? Assigned to monitor such deals to protect Enron's interests, which. And this is where it all goes a bit crazy. 2000, Enron share prices reach a record high of $90. Enron announces that Skilling, then president and chief operating officer, will succeed Kenneth Lay as CEO in February 2001. Lay will remain as chairman. The stock hits a 52-week high of $84.87. August 2001, Skilling resigns as CEO, and Ken is named CEO again. So he lasted 8 to 9 months in that job and then was out the fucking door. I wonder why.
Because he could do math, I bet.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, it's coming. I'm just going to go and live in Belize for a while now. Financing.
I'm not attached to it.
Yeah, nothing. No dirt on my hands. Finance executive Sharon Watkins meets privately with Ken Lay to discuss concerns of murky finance and accounting that could ruin the company. That's the last we hear from her. She might be buried in a desert somewhere, to be honest, at this point. There's nothing more.
With Hoffa.
Yeah, she's definitely... They were like, yeah, you remember where Hoffa's buried? Let's just put her in there as well. Give him some company. Enron announces in October that it's $638 million in third quarter losses and a 1.2 billion reduction in shareholder equity stemming from write-offs related to failed broadband and water trading ventures. That's a shitload of money. And water and broadband, people fucking needed that even back in 2001. That's kind of crazy.
It's like the GDP of a small country.
Exactly. As unwinding of so-called raptors of fragile entities backed by falling Enron stock created to hedge inflated assets and keep hundreds of millions of dollars in debt off the energy company's books. October of 2001, the Securities and Exchange Commission launched an inquiry into Enron's finances. Womp womp. Enron acknowledges the SEC inquiry into a possible conflict of interest related to the company's dealings with Fasto's partnerships. Lay says, we will cooperate fully with the SEC and look forward to the opportunity to put any concern about these transactions to rest. And then the SEC takes 5 seconds to look at their books and like, you're all going to prison. You're all kind of fucked. Lay professes confidence in Fasto to analysts. That's on October the 23rd in an interview. October the 24th, Fasto is sacked. Yeah, that was love that vote of confidence, buddy. November the 5th, Enron treasurer Bill Gilson Jr. and in-house attorney Christina Mordaunt fired for investing in Fasto-run partnership. Each invested $5,800 in 2001 and received a $1 million return a week later.
Holy crap.
Give me some of that.
Yes. Dude, Jesus. I'm happy with my 8% gains a year.
Yeah, forget 8%. That's like thousands of percent. Holy shit.
That would have been like if I would have got Dogecoin a little earlier.
Oh, God, could you imagine? Oh, I wish I'd got a slice of that. I thought it was a joke.
I had it at 14 cents a share.
Oh.
And then I dipped out.
Oh, no.
And then I dipped back in, and then I lost a whole bunch of money.
Oh.
Now I'm just holding on to it just in case, Chip.
Fuck yes. Keep holding on to that crypto. So November 8th, Enron files documents with the SEC revising its financial statements for the previous 5 years to account for a slight $586 million loss that it didn't think it had. Where have you found that from? Oh, we're sorry. Dynegy, which is a weird name, announces an agreement to buy Enron for more than $8 billion in stock. That's why the fuck are they giving? Yeah, what are you mad? That's insane.
Well, they got a name like Dynegy, so yeah.
Dynegy, exactly. Is this Ken Lay's wife and her company? Fucking hell. Enron, November 19th, Enron restates its third quarter earnings and discloses $690 million in debt due on November the 27th. So a few days later, November the 28th, the day after the debt is due, Enron stock plunges below $1 as Dynegy Inc. aborts its plans to buy its former rival. You fucking think?
Yeah.
Do not want any rats from that ship, thank you very much. December the 2nd, Enron goes bankrupt, thousands of workers laid off. 2002, January, the Justice Department confirms it's began criminal investigations. January 10th, the White House discloses Lay sought help from 2 cabinet members shortly before the company collapsed, but neither offer aid. The company's auditor, Arthur Anderson LLP, says it has destroyed tens of Enron documents. It's tons, literally tons. Sorry.
Yes.
Why were
They're
you
shredding
shredding the shit out of everything in sight?
Oh,
What's that? That's my driver's license. Give me that back. My God, that's my daughter's birth. Yeah, that's my daughter's birth certificate. Give me that back. It's gotta go. It's all gotta go. It's all dirty. It's just like Gollum, shredding shit. They haven't seen sunlight in days. Holy shit. January 23rd, Ken Lay resigns as chairman and CEO. Good. January 25th, Cliff Baxter, former head of Enron's trading unit and later vice president, before his resignation in May 2001, found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Yeah, he felt bad about it.
Yeah.
Or did he?
Or did he really pull the trigger, or did somebody else?
Somebody Epsteined him, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Ken Lay resigns on February the 4th. Speculation. It may not have happened. It probably did. Ken Lay resigns from the board on February the 4th. February the 7th, Skilling Fasto, Michael Copper appear at Congress with McMahon and in-house Enron lawyer Jordan Mintz. Skilling testifies Fasto and Cooper invoke their Fifth Amendment rights. It's like, no.
I didn't do it. I mean, I'm not saying...
I'm just here to see the lovely artwork inside. Leave me alone. Ken Lay on February the 12th. Just before Valentine's Day, a lovely present for him and his wife there. Lay invokes the Fifth Amendment at a Senate hearing after expressing profound sadness at Enron's collapse. I'm so sad, but I'm pleading the Fifth. So fuck you.
Yep. Not going to talk about it.
No, I'm too sad to talk about it, so pleading the Fifth. I'm so sad I can't talk. So, Fifth. Just him saying the Fifth over and over again. March 14th, former Enron auditor Arthur Anderson, LLP, indicted for destroying Enron-related documents to thwart investigators. What the fuck did you think was going to happen?
I can't shred those?
Oh,
Wait.
I wasn't supposed to be shredding everything. I was supposed to be doing my job. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I guess I'll go to prison now. David Duncan, Anderson's former top Enron auditor, pleads guilty to obstruction for instructing his staff to destroy documents as per company policy. What?
They didn't put it on paper.
No.
If they did, they could have shredded it.
Exactly. You're an auditor company. Why is your company policy to shred everything? You're supposed to audit stuff. Fucking hell. And a few weeks later, Anderson is convicted. August, former top Fasto aide Michael Cooper pleads guilty to money laundering and conspiracy, the first Enron executive to strike a deal with prosecutors. He identifies a string of partnerships designed to falsely portray Enron as financially healthy while enriching him, Fasto, and others.
Certainly not Mr. Lay.
No, there's nothing to do with the Bush family either at all. September the 12th, 3 former National Westminster Bank bankers indicted for wire fraud for siphoning off millions of dollars in income intended for their employer through investment in a Fasto partnership, which is linked to Enron. They're currently fighting extradition. I guess this must be... Wow, that's what it says anyway. That's probably happened by now, I'd imagine.
Probably. What's tripping me out about this is that they see it coming, and they still think, okay,
I'll be all right.
This is going to make it look worse, but I'm just going to start making myself look horrible, and maybe it'll get better.
Yeah, it's coming. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to run. I'm going to stay here. They know everything already, but let's just shred stuff as well.
Yeah,
you know,
like agitate them.
Yeah, let's just piss them off. Why don't we, like, when they come here, go outside and piss on their car? Just do that. Just like it'll be fine. Nothing bad will happen. Jesus. October, former top Enron trader Timothy Belden pleads guilty to wire fraud for participating in schemes to game California's power markets during the state's energy crisis in 2000 and 2001. You fucking scumbag. By the way, Anderson, sentenced to probation and fined $500,000. The firm was already banned from auditing public companies and had a few hundred employees left after its conviction. So it had gone from thousands to a few hundred. So probably not great, really.
Yeah, not the healthiest of companies anymore.
No. October, Fasto indicted on 78 charges of conspiracy, fraud, money laundering, and other counts. November, former mid-level executive Larry Lawyer. His name's Larry Lawyer. That's fucking awesome. Pleads guilty to filing false tax forms for failing to report as an income nearly $80,000 in gifts copper funneled to him for his work on a shady Fasto transaction. What the fuck are they doing? It leaves a trail everywhere.
None of my friends ever give me $80,000 gifts.
I know. It's just so ridiculous. And like, if they did, they'd probably do a better job at hiding it, I think.
Oh yeah, they're not going to just blatantly do it while they're staring at us. Hey, oh no, the cops are coming. Quick, hand me your drugs in front of them.
Give me all of the drugs, please. Now we're in 2003. Former Enron trader Jeffrey Richter pleads guilty to conspiracy and lying to the FBI for helping to manipulate California's electricity market in 2000. They are responsible for the deaths of old people at this point. The fuckers.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. There's a load of stuff that goes on. Counts against Fasto increased to 98. Indictment unsealed against 2 former Enron broadband finance and accounting executives on charges of faking $111 million in earnings from failed video-on-demand deal with Blockbuster, of all fucking people. They tried to start Netflix in 2003 and it didn't work. So, oops. David Delaney, a former chief executive of Enron's trading unit, pleads guilty to 1 count of insider trading, acknowledging he was in on a senior management scheme to manipulate the company's earnings to meet or exceed Wall Street's expectations while selling $4.2 million in stock. That's for himself. Gilson pleads guilty to conspiracy and goes straight to prison for 5 years, becoming the first former Enron executive behind bars. Later begins cooperating with prosecutors. Smart man. Anderson Fasto pleads guilty to 2 counts of conspiracy and agrees to serve 10 years in prison after prosecutors no longer need his cooperation. Everyone else has been like, please, I want time off. And this guy's like, oh, wait a minute. Have I missed the bus? Yeah, 10 years.
Damn.
Fucking hell. Club fed for 10 years.
Close.
Yeah, damn. I should have been quicker. What was I doing? Oh, that's right. I was shredding documents. Former top Enron accountant Richard Causey pleads innocent to conspiracy and fraud charges for allegedly being a principal architect of the widespread schemes to mislead investigators in the scandal-ridden energy company. Skilling added to Causey indictment pleads innocent to more than 30 counts, including conspiracy and fraud and insider trading, including expanded to push counts against Causey past 30 as well. His wife, Leah Fasto, pleads guilty to a reduced charge of filing a false tax form, a misdemeanor, sneaky, and is sentenced to a maximum sentence of 1 year in prison.
So he got his wife in on the crime
I think
time.
so. Unless that's him, unless that's a misspelling. But anyway, someone got a year for an incorrect tax form. Yeah, which sounds like a bit of a let-off, really. May, former Enron corporate secretary Paula Riker pleads guilty to 1 count of insider trading for selling stock in July 5th, knowing Enron's broadband unit lost money. More money, than publicly claimed. July 7th, a sealed indictment against Chey Lay is handed in. July 8th, Lay surrenders to the FBI. Indictment is unsealed, accusing him of participating in a conspiracy to manipulate Enron's quarterly financial results, making false and misleading public statements about the company's financial performance, omitting facts necessary to making financial statements accurate and fair. Lay pleads innocent, because of course he fucking did.
Because he's got giant big balls.
He's got big balls. He's got a doctorate. He's friends with Bushes. Yeah, he's probably going to be fine. Nothing's bad's going to happen to him. July, U.S. bankruptcy or Judge Arthur Gonzalez confirms Enron's reorganization plan, in which most creditors will receive about 1/5 of the approximately $63 million they're owed in cash and stock. I'm just going to skip a load of this. There's just like prison. I'll just get to the good Ken Lay stuff. Where is it? There we go. 2005. Fucking hell. A federal judge schedules the Lay, Skilling, and Causey trial for January 17th, 2006. So in 2006, Lay and Skilling's trials begin. In May, Lay and Skilling are convicted of conspiracy to commit securities and wire fraud. July 5th, Ken Lay dies of a heart attack in Aspen, Colorado at the age of 64. Police were summoned to Ken Lay's home in Old Snowmass, Colorado, shortly after 1 a.m. He was pronounced dead at Aspen Valley Hospital at 3:11 a.m. And here's the kicker.
Well,
yeah. A federal judge rules that Ken Lay's death vacates his conviction of fraud and conspiracy charges, making it more difficult for the government to seek the $43.5 million they were going to get from Ken Lay's estate. He died, but his estate kept the fucking money. Unbelievable. This is my favorite. Right, so Ken Lay died. They say it was coronary, right? That was the reason for the death. And you can understand someone 61, that kind of stress, that would kill someone, you know?
Good, yeah.
There's a lot of people dying here, aren't there?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
I'm not suggesting a conspiracy, but given that Enron was like conspiracy central anyway, it wouldn't surprise me. And also, he's connected, so maybe...
Definitely the circles there that they're running in, and
there's a lot of overlaps, aren't there?
A lot of people die.
Isn't it weird how people that have got powerful friends that may be involved in some shady dealings end up dying before they're really given a chance to talk? Weird, isn't it?
A hell of a lot of coincidence.
Yeah, there's a lot of coincidences there. So, what were you going to say? Sorry.
But did he die? Or did he go the way of Elvis?
Did he like get someone else's face over his face and walk out? It's like, see, because he's like the estate still got the money. So Ken Lay's family have $43 million of ill-gotten gains, and it's probably, I mean, the value of that will have skyrocketed since then, since 2006.
All the bullshit they were doing with that company there too led to a whole domino effect.
Yeah.
On Wall Street with the banks, and the big banks failing, and the housing market crashing.
Absolutely.
So they messed up
possibly the world's financial markets as well, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it kind of opened the curtain a little bit so you could look behind, and all of a sudden, fucking everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
All the banks, all the weird... Yeah.
All of the crazy shit. And also one thing I had to cut down for time. Merrill Lynch were elbow deep in this shit. So all sorts of Merrill Lynch people go into prison for this as well. So, like you said, I mean, obviously the financial crash in 2008, anyone who was around about that time will remember it distinctly because things changed overnight. They really did. But this is kind of ground zero for that shit. You know, all of the stuff that came after that, all the banking and the housing and fucking Iceland and Greece and all of these different markets falling apart. Enron was the first big one, but this is my favorite part of the whole thing. The last paragraph I've got here. Enron's $63.4 billion in asset made it the largest corporate bankruptcy in U.S. history, ... until the WorldCom scandal the following year. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
You had an Enron every year.
Yeah. It was a hell of a time.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Those days. No one had any money because of some fucking idiot from Texas.
Well, and then they messed around with energy. They messed around with the financial markets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was orchestrated by this Ken Lay, huh?
Ken Lay, which is just an awesome name. I mean, the thing is, he's a part of it. He's a massive cog in the machine that was the overriding fraud of Enron. The question I have, because, and like you pointed out, this is the starting point for so many financial problems and issues and disasters that we're still kind of feeling the after effects of to this day. You know, obviously there have been recoveries and other recessions as well, but the 2008 financial crash, which I think is the worst financial crisis in human history, we're still feeling the effects now, and and like you said, it fundamentally changed a lot of things. New regulations came in as a result of the Enron bullshit, and you know, a lot of financial stuff has never gone back to the old ways. You know, credit card and loans and mortgages and shit, it is completely fundamentally changed because of the financial crisis, which started, I mean, obviously it was going to happen eventually anyway, but the big one that broke it all was Enron. And Ken Lay, as CEO and chairman for so many years, dude is front and center of that. So
he's the big domino that tripped, or maybe he's the stick that they tripped over and hit the dominoes. But
yeah, he's the shit-covered stick that started it all.
He gets a bunch of extra points just for the giant balls of playing innocent.
Yeah.
And being well enough connected to let his family keep the money afterwards.
That's fucking insane, isn't it? 40, and like we talk about the financial crisis, and like I'm sure a lot of that money was tied up in like Wall Street and I don't know, housing or whatever the fuck people invest their money in. They'll still be many times over millionaires, even if they were hit by 50% of that. It's still it's so fucking mad that. And this is the point of Ken Lay. He's not a traditional idiot because the guy has a PhD, a philosophy of economics, right? So he's highly qualified, incredibly well connected, and he's still fucked up to the point where the world changed, which is amazing. Yep. You know?
And I think that almost makes me feel like he meant to do it. The fact that he was so educated on economics and knowing he knew what he was doing.
I know.
He still did it.
It's crazy.
So. Yeah, extra points for that too.
Yeah, for being possibly a psychopath and like it's like a Bond villain, almost like I'm gonna fuck the world over, and then I'm gonna die of a heart attack in Aspen. You know,
he went to Mars, man.
That's what it is. He took that money.
Maybe he was a lizard people. Okay,
he's a lizard person. We found another one. Him and Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah. Hey, weren't they friends?
Oh my God, were they? Oh,
I think she was connected with.
That's right. She was connected with Enron. Fuck,
see?
Lizard people. So there we go. Holy shit! I have to ask, what do you make of Ken Lay, Enron, and all of that?
Yeah, I'm going just on the non-traditional asshole idiot side of things. He's a big one. I'm going 80. He's definitely a B.
He's a solid B candidate, isn't he? Because like, and he's another person where you look at his life up to a certain point, and you're like, actually, this dude could have been anything. Could have been president. Right. Who knows? He could have been head of the World Trade Organization, World Bank. He could have been anything he wanted. He just wanted money while lying. You know? Right.
Had he used his talents for good, he could have changed the world epically the other way.
Exactly. We could have been living in a golden age thanks to Ken Lay. You know, there would have been golden statues of Ken Lay up and down this country, possibly outside of an Aspen Medical Center where he wouldn't have died of a heart attack.
Well, we can't have golden statues anyway here. The tweakers will take down the lights to get the copper out, so we can't have statues.
The copper. Fucking hell. Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, even in Aspen, there's like tweakers like in snow gear. She's like walks along. I've got to get a snow pass. got to get on the lift. Got to get up to the top of the slope. I need my fix. Oh my God.
Brings a whole new thing to powder there.
Yeah, they're addicted to powder. I gotta get it, man. I got the board itch. I've got to get up there. They're twitching. The officers on they're at the Ken Lay statue again. They're tweaking. They're fucking going for it. They're rattling like hell. Can we get someone around to get the snowboarders help, please? Amazing. The Petty Ford Clinic's just full of like rich people that just want to go snowboarding. So Kenley Lay gets an 80, and Terry Cole of Liverpool, the worst bank robber in human history, gets a 75. Really good, solid week for kind of low-level idiot and then world-changing idiot at the same time. I kind of like those. Bit of a change from action stars shitting their pants and and presidents making themselves emperor for life and shit like that. But yeah.
I don't know. I like the action star ones.
I like the action stars that get choked out by ancient judo guys and shit their pants. So there we go. That's our show for this week. Derek, what did you make of researching and writing all of this amazing stuff about Terry Cole and hearing about Ken Lay? Holy shit!
I had a really good time with it, and I learned some new magazines that you have over there, Echo and whatnot.
Yeah,
I don't know. You wander across in research different things that you wouldn't in your country normal. Like in the course of a day, I'm not going to wander onto any major, outside of BBC.
Sure, yeah.
There was some good stories and some decent writing on there too. So I might use them to find more new idiots.
I know. Ironically, a lot of our best journalism in this country is done outside of the mainstream outlets. I mean, the BBC are pretty good for the most part, but like anything, some of the newspapers are still okay, like The Guardian and The Independent's not too bad, but pretty much anything that's a red top, which is the kind of the broadsheets, the real shit muck spreaders in this country, they're pretty bad. But there are some really, really good journalists doing work in this country, and it's the same in the States as well. All of that information I got was from NPR. So God bless NPR. They are fucking amazing. And very accurate, although they did, I'm a proofreader. I found a couple of spelling mistakes. So do better, NPR. Jesus. So that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. And just remember, if you are feeling like you want to rob a bank or a building society, why the fuck would you rob a building society with a hairbrush or a fucking spit fork or whatever the hell that bullshit was? Or if you've got your master's in a philosophy of economics but decide that ending the world's economic structures as we see it is a good way forwards, please don't do it. Resist the urge. If Ken Lay and Terry Cole had switched places, I actually think they would have been more successful, to be honest. I think Enron would have made money and Ken Lay would have become the world's richest bank robber. I think potentially.
That could be a thing.
Yeah. That would have been a nice switcheroo. So that's our show for this week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Derek, would you like to say goodbye, goodbye, please?
Goodbye, please. I mean, everybody.
Thanks, man. And we will see you next episode. Take care now.